Hello, everybody, and welcome in live to the Voice of College Football 365. We actually have college football games to talk about tonight, so that's super exciting. The
Oh,
offseason is over. We get to talk some actual football. How you doing tonight, Brandon?
I'm doing good, Matthew. I'm super excited to have some games going on, and I have a lot to say about all the games that we are going to talk about. I have some opinions for you.
Yeah, we have, I think, the four biggest games of the weekend, in my opinion. Three of them for sure. I think the fourth one is up for the debate, but it's very interesting. And when we
Sleeper.
get, we'll talk about it. But before we jump into the games, a little bit of controversy coming into the season now. Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports, joins Fox, I think, like a month ago. And that was kind of like their Pat McAfee of their big noon kickoff. And what do we know? First game, and reportedly he was banned from entering Ohio State when they jump over from the outside to the inside of the stadium, which happens about half an hour before kickoff. That is
Right.
what he said. Then Ohio State Ross Bjork, the athletic director, says, no, that is not the case. Fox did that. So, Brandon, who do you believe on this, seesaw debate or whatever this is, controversy?
I believe Dave. Like, how much sense does it make for Fox to hire him, knowing they're going to Ohio State and then ban him a week and a half out from the game? That literally makes zero sense. So Ohio State banned him because he's a diehard Michigan fan, and it was a shot. Like it was a shot of retaliation. It was something personal that had nothing to do with anything else. That was personal because he's Michigan all day, and he's been talking about O State for a very long time in the worst way. But he's a diehard Michigan guy, so I do believe Dave Portnoy. Like I have no reason not to, just in terms of he was hired by Fox to do a job, and with a straight face, you're going to tell me, yeah, Fox also decided to ban me, but they still have to pay me. That makes zero. That's the worst business move ever. If Fox did that, I don't think that's the case. How about you? What you thinking?
No, I agree. It doesn't really make sense. And if it was Ohio State banning him, it makes sense just because, like you said, Michigan fan, everything he said on Twitter. And honestly, like Ohio State is kind of branding themselves in a way of they kind of just seem soft. I mean, honestly, everything they've done with
Sensitive.
with the flag planning thing and everything like that, trying to come up with a bill, which is crazy. And then now we have this controversy. So I completely agree. And it doesn't make any sense. It's going to be probably I think it's going to be one of the two most highest rated regular season games of the whole year. I think it's going to be Texas, Ohio State, and then either Texas and Georgia or Alabama, Georgia. I think those are going to be your top
Yeah.
two in some way.
Yeah.
And you're just going to take the guy that I think has the most potential bringing eyes to the TV, because everyone else has seen the old version of this big noon kickoff. We've seen Urban
Right.
Meyer, we've seen Mark Ingram now, and all those guys on set. So you were kind of bringing in new energy, new flavor to this show. So that does make sense that it is Ohio State. So we'll have to see if that is the main reason. I also think it's interesting because both these things could go away with like a statement. Like if Dave Portnoy showed the statement of him getting banned, that could go away. Because
True.
I'm sure they issued a statement of that
Amen.
happening.
That is a very good point. Like either side could literally end it by posting something that was private and posted publicly. So, but no, I have a hard time. To your point, Ohio State is very, very soft and sensitive. Like they get sensitive about everything, but they can do it. They are the people or the bullies who say, "Oh no, I'm going to pick with you." And then as soon as someone picks with them, they want to be like, "No, but I wasn't. I didn't mean it like that." Like that's the type of institution and program that they come off as. Not saying that's what it is, but that's what they come off as. So yeah, I can't ban a guy for
Yeah.
from talk. Come on, man. What are we doing here? We're talking about football. Like you act like they act like he's going to go in the locker room and go steal signals again. I know that's a sensitive spot for Michigan, but it happened. They act like he's going to do that or like he can do that. Like no, he's there working a job. Like no more, no less. So I don't like it. To me, that's like no.
And all this does is add more fuel to the fire too for that, perception that they are soft one, and then adds more fuel to the fire for Dave Portnoy to return fire. Like if they just let him in the stadium, be a normal person and everything, this probably gets tampered down a little bit. But also
Right.
this mine too, because I've seen this a lot lately in the past like year, 2 years. This could all just be like a made up controversy to get eyes on the TV
Eyes on
screen.
the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true. I never thought of it that way because you know what? These guys are ultimately, they are entertainers. This, because to your point, this sounds like a wrestling
Yeah.
script. You know what I mean? Like, this sounds like something Vince McMahon brought up in the back and they was like, oh, yeah, let's do that. And yeah, so I don't know. Either way, I don't like it. I don't think banning analysts and commentators is like, because if you go there, Desmond Howard should never be allowed there. You know what I mean? Like let's go down the list of guys who went to rival schools who they shouldn't go. They don't like him either. You know what I mean? That's just, to me, ultimately what you said, that's just soft.
No, I completely agree. So before we transition over to the games, I want to say for my people on X, jump over to YouTube, find us there because we are going to stop streaming on X. Go over to YouTube, just type in Voice of College Football 365. We will come up live. Subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate it. Before we jump over, though, we are going to have a word from Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. He's going to let you know about the Amazon link in the description. He's also going to let you know about the Voice of College Football Bets channel, which we really appreciate. And actually, you know what? We'll let him have a sneak peek. We'll start with the fourth game, actually, Brandon. We'll start with TCU and North Carolina first. We'll do that. So TCU, 3.5-point favorite versus North Carolina. Over under here, 56.5. So what is your opinion about this game? And then do you agree with me? Is this the fourth most, I guess, interesting game of the weekend to you?
Yes, it is because of the man at Chapel Hill, baby. That is like, now I'm gonna say this. He's boring to like watch, but he brings eyes because of the way he does things. But you know, it's like his entire coaching history. But this is a very interesting game because TCU is a good football team. They got hot last year, late in the year. I think they had a 6-game stretch. They were 4-2 or 5-1. I want to say 4-2. But they played better and they got better and better. So Sonny Dykes, has those guys going in the right direction. And then you got Chapel Bill over here coming into college football for the first time. A lot of eyes are going to be on him to see if, what does it look like for a Hall of Fame caliber coach to be coaching college football now. So I do think this is a very interesting game, but not for all the same reasons of the other 3 games, but more so just because it's something that we really haven't seen in a while in terms of highly successful pro coach in college football.
Yeah, we really, haven't had this in a long time of a guy this successful, like ever, obviously, because no one's ever won as many Super Bowl rings and then transition to college. But usually it's the college coach transitioning to the NFL. This is the total reverse of that, of the NFL coach transitioning to college. I'm interested to see because he did this at the NFL level of him exploiting weird rules. Like he went through the whole rule book, exploited rules that eventually actually got changed. So I'm wondering if there's any rules that we're going to find out like 99.9% of college football is going to not know about. And he's going to say, well, I found this and I'm going to exploit it. That's going to be super interesting to me. And then how quickly can he change this thing? Because I think Mac Brown did leave him with some talent on that roster. Some of it did transfer out, but it's not like a depleted roster that he's taken over. I think they could probably win with that schedule 8 or 9 games at the max and have a pretty good year. But overall, I'm just interested to see the game plan on both sides of the ball. How does it look different game planning wise, college to the NFL for him? And I'm also interested to, like, be honest with you, he usually has that cutoff sweatshirt. Like, is he wearing that at North Carolina? I don't know. Is he going to class it up a little bit? We'll have to see. I'm interested to see that. But it's also
I have a hard time believing him. He doesn't have a cutoff sweat. That's a good bet. Does he wear a cutoff sweatshirt and what color? Does he go baby blue or does he go gray? I think he goes gray cutoff.
I could also see him throw in white. I could see white there.
Ooh, really?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
could
know.
see that.
I don't know about that.
We'll have to see. It's going to be interesting. And because I mean, honestly, it's funny because when my mom would watch football with me at the NFL, she'd be like, he always looks like a slob. And he did. He dressed like a slob on the sideline. He looked like a homeless guy that just decided to coach that day. So I'm interested to see if that changes. But it's super interesting. And I think, what do you think about this line? TCU's favored by 3.5. I also think this is interesting. TCU was also the first team to usher Deion Sanders into this. They're ushering Bill Belichick into this. So we'll have to see. But what do you think about this line?
So it's a fair line. But I think North Carolina wins. I do. To your point about Belichick and rules and things like that, one thing I know, and I played against him one time in my entire career, his teams are going to be well prepared. Like they're going to have like a different level of preparation than most teams, and he's going to have wrinkles because you got to think these are new coaches, new coordinators, different pieces, right? And it's a lot of unscouted looks. So what things I know he has done, he'll throw things out to just get the next four opponents something to study and look at. He might do it a couple times this game just so that you have to look at it. And then guess what? He doesn't do it for another 6 weeks. Like he's always playing chess. That's why I have him winning this game. I think his ability to just have so many unscouted looks and wrinkles within special teams, defense, and offense are is going to catch guys off guard. Like I have a hard time betting against this dude, especially with the competent roster. And I think this roster is like above the line in the ACC. To your point, I can see them winning 8-9 games and maybe still in one to get to 10 because again, they're going to be well coached. They do have a lot of new pieces on defense, but defense isn't like offense. As long as you guys know how to talk and communicate together and run and hit, the rest kind of takes care of itself. And that's another thing. That defense is going to be prepared. They're going to know how to tackle. They're going to play sound. They're going to be a disciplined football team. Like he doesn't tolerate anything less. So I do like the line. I think I will take the under of this 56.5, mainly because of early in the year, defenses are usually ahead of the offense. You know what I mean? Just in terms of learning and being able to execute at a higher level sooner than the offense. Because offense is predicated on timing, chemistry, protection. It's so many variables. Defense, run, hit, get the ball. That's all we got to figure out. So, and I think both teams have players on both sides, up front, secondary, who can do that at a very high level. TCU lost on weapons and Stavion Williams, but they do return Hoover and McAllister. So again, like they have some things there. The transfer quarterback from Southern Alabama,
Gio Lopez.
I like him. He's an interesting player. So it'll be interesting to see how they utilize him. But I got North Carolina winning by 4.
Okay, so we literally have the same thing. I have 27. I said 27-23 North Carolina, and I'm taking
24.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I agree. I think North Carolina wins the game. I think this is the thing too. I don't think people realize like the NFL now. I actually think Bill Belichick's going to have more times with his players to coach them up in college than he would have in the NFL because of the lack of reps you get in practice now. You have more reps, I think, in college than the NFL now. So I think that actually works to his advantage. And I completely agree. His teams are always fundamentally sound. And I think early in the season, guys, games are more lost than they are won early in the season because of how sloppy the play can be.
That's a very great point.
So I think North Carolina is going to win this football game. I do. I think they're going to win by 4. I completely agree with Brandon on that. And I think it's going to be a fun, entertaining football game. And I agree. I like Josh Hoover a lot, but I just think the weapons around him aren't that good compared to what he had last year.
I'm with you. Yeah, that's a very good point. Games are definitely more lost than they are won, and it's usually pre-snap penalties, it's turnovers, it's mistakes that you don't need at any time during the season, but really it's really pivotal early on because like we just talked about it in the Texas show. There's no preseason in college football, so you have to come out rolling, and if you're not fundamentally sound how these Belichick teams usually are, then that's when, guys don't rely on their technique. They start doing things that they weren't coached. And it's because it's first game jitters. Like that's a real thing. And like, I don't care how much money these kids make, they're still kids. So, you got kids who from ages 18 to say 22 in their first game. And, like it's so many emotions and thoughts. So that's a very, very valid point that games are more so lost than they are won. And I think Belichick is going to make sure his team doesn't lose games. I don't think he's going to put his guys in position to lose the game. So.
No, I completely agree. So we're on the exact same page for that game. Again, guys, for you guys on X, that was your sneak preview. Now go over to YouTube, go type
right
in
now.
Yeah, Voice of College Football 365. We're going to hit 2 ads real quick, so I'll give you plenty of time to do so. And then we're going to talk. Let's do Notre Dame, Miami after this break.
Let's do it.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now. You can make a difference here at the Voice of College Football. Use the Amazon link. Financially contribute to the Voice of College Football without spending a penny. Same shopping experience. It's easy. Go to any video on any channel. Go to the description section and grab the link right next to the capital letters that say Amazon. Use that link, and Amazon will instantaneously convert to your account, settings, history, everything intact, just like whatever link you use right now. No difference. Pay no attention to the product that you see right there. Just go search what you want. Don't forget the Amazon link. Thank you for your support. Sincerely, the Voice of College Football.
Okay, so let's jump right into it. Notre Dame versus Miami. I think this is a super interesting game because Notre Dame starting CJ Carr, which I was kind of surprised because I thought it would be Mike Minchie. That's all
Really?
I heard out of camp. Yeah, I did. Because that's all the stuff apparently around there was that's who it was going to be. And then it kind of shocked everyone. And then Carson Beck transferring over from Georgia. Can he have a bounce back here? Brandon, what do you think about this game? And then also, what do you think about this line?
So this line is probably spot on. But I'm taking Notre Dame going to Miami and winning this game. And I'm taking Notre Dame because they returned almost their entire defense. I want to say it's 7 or 8 starters coming back. They do have a new coordinator, but when you have that many starters coming back and a young quarterback and a good defense, that's a recipe to win. And Julian Love, they have one of the best running backs in the country. They can run the ball. They can ease CJ Carr into the game and not put too much on him early. And let's be clear, CJ Carr's talented. So at some point, he's going to make some plays. As long as he doesn't give the ball up, Notre Dame is going to have a good chance, to win this game. And Miami, on the other hand, I don't believe in Carson Beck. I don't see it. I've looked at him on tape for the last 2 years. I don't see a guy. I don't see a real guy. When you talk about a guy who was at Georgia with one of the best rosters in college football the last 2 years and came up empty-handed, right? And you're talking about Stetson Bennett, who no one had as one of the top guys, even though he won a national championship 1 year. He takes him right. You know what I mean? I don't. You telling me this guy's better than him with the similar roster on both sides of the ball and couldn't get it done. Now you're gonna tell me he's gonna come to Miami and beat a team that was, in the national championship last year, who returned a lot of starters, lost the quarterback, but they returned some weapons around him. I'm going to take the road team winning in a hostile environment. I'm also going to take the under. I take the under early in all these games because offenses usually have to play catch up unless they're playing a bad team. But when you're playing good football teams have to play catch up in terms of being productive on offense. But I'm taking Notre Dame to win by 21-17.
Okay, so I've had a hot take like brewing for Notre Dame over the offseason. I have them and Oregon as my two most overrated teams going into the year because I'm not in love with the quarterback situation at either place. And I have I don't know if I'm going to stick to it. I really don't know how I'm feeling about this game because this is how I feel. I think Miami has a better defensive line and offensive line than Notre Dame. I think they're loaded in the trenches. My issue, again, I agree with you. I don't believe in Carson Beck. I also don't believe in the guy on the sidelines that I've seen make boneheaded decisions consistently. So I think if this game's close, I could see that Mario Cristobal making some stupid decision that cost him this game. But I've also seen Marcus Freeman make some dumb decisions and lose to Northern Illinois. So I don't really know how I feel about either coach. I know they went to the national championship last year, but I think that had more to do with who they played to get there than anything. So it's really hard for me this game. I think both these teams are probably a little bit overrated coming into the season. I do like Notre Dame's wide receiver situation, which I have not in the past. I love Jaden Greathouse. Jordan Faison's pretty good. And then obviously, like you said, Jeremiah Love's really good. And then Jadarian Price is really good as well. So I think they might have one of the 2 to 3 best tandems of running backs. So it really only comes down to can CJ Carr make those, 5 to 6 throws in this game that he needs to make, that 3rd and 5 he needs to convert, that type of thing. And maybe he can do it with his legs. He's a decent athlete as well. Man, I think this is a tool. I actually think out of the 3 games we're going to talk next, or 2 games, LSU, Clemson, Texas, Ohio State, in this game, I think this game has the best chance of going into overtime. I think that's the type of game I see, or a back and forth type game. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to stick with my hot take. I think Miami's going to beat them. So I'm going to take Miami to cover the 2, win the game. So they'll obviously cover that. And then I agree with you. I think it'll be under. I'm going to go 24-20 Miami.
I'm not mad at that. This was the hardest game to choose for those factors. Exactly. You have a young quarterback, then a quarterback who's experienced, who I don't think is that good. And then, to your point, Miami wins in the trenches, but I mean, they were talented last year. I don't know. So but I believe in the young guy who I've never seen live over the guy I've seen a multitude of times, and I'm just like, he's just not good. So,
I mean, that's completely fair. Yeah, if you don't believe in Carson Beck at all, I could see that. And I think, honestly, kind of like I talked about the last game, the team that makes the least amount of mistakes, I think it's the quarterback that makes the least amount of mistakes in this game, who doesn't throw the crappy interception, make the bad decision instead of just, throwing an interception, just throw it out of bounds. Those are the type of winning plays in this game that I see. What quarterback can decide to do that?
100. That's 100% true. Because if CJ Carr relies on that and say, okay, it's 3rd and 7, I roll out, I think I have a guy, but I throw it away. But you have that stud defense, you can win a game in a hostile environment like that, opposed to doing what I believe Carson Beck would do. So I can make this throw, pick. I've seen him do it numerous times where I'm like, yeah, you should have never thrown that ball. So, and you made another excellent point. The coaching. We've seen Mario Cristobal lose games year after year. Marcus Freeman versus Northern Illinois. Those guys have to be on their P's and Q's and call and manage the game in a way that protects their guys.
No, 100%. And that's the thing. If Miami had any other coach in this game, I'd feel a lot more confident in that decision. That's like the one thing that just in the back of my head, because I've seen the guy not take a kneel. He hasn't kneeled down twice. He's done that twice, not one time, twice in college football of like, I'm going to run a play and then it turn over and then you lose the game because of it, because you didn't want to kneel the football, which is just a total meathead decision from a head coach. I don't understand that, but it is what it is. But I'll have to ride here. That has been my Notre Dame hot take for the whole summer, that they're going to start 0-2. I think they're going to lose to Miami, and I think they're going to lose to Texas A&M back-to-back, and I think they're going to end up going 9-3. So I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to take Miami in this game.
Mad at that. Not mad at that at all.
Let's jump over to the next game. LSU, 3.5-point underdogs. Over-under super high in this game, 57.5. So I'm very interested to see if I'm guessing you're going to go under on this game, but what do you think about the plus 3.5?
That's fair because both teams return a lot of starters on offense. Talking about two of the top quarterbacks in this year's draft class. Like these guys are total opposite of Beck to me. Like, I like the way they play. They play on time. They're better athletes than people think. They can make plays with their legs. They're both talented. So the 3.5 is fair. I'm going to take the under, but barely. I don't think it's going to be 30, 40 points. No, like I have it at, I want to say my total is at 55. Like it's right there at it. But with that being said, it's so many things going on in my head when it comes to picking this game, because you have LSU and Brian Kelly, who stink opening. They haven't won an opening week game since 2019, since Joe Burrow was in college. That's a long time. Like everything was different in 2019, right? That's like pre-COVID. They haven't won an opening game since pre-COVID. That's insane to think, right? Then you have, Clemson, who on paper looks like a good football team, but they can't get out their own way sometimes, and like Dabo is, he's all anti-portal. We do things homegrown and all this, all that stuff, right? So that being said, I'm taking LSU to go to Death Valley, beat the Tigers.
Okay, so they get to keep the Death Valley. This is the battle of Death Valley. Whoever wins gets that title.
Whoever wins keeps Death Valley, and the other team has to call it the Valley. Like you lose it, because it should not be two teams named Tigers and then their whole stadium named Death. No, they split the game every year, and you get naming rights for that year. But no, I'm taking LSU. I'm really high on Garrett Nesmeyer. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in this draft class. My biggest concern with that team is that defense. Can they be consistent? Because they have studs on all three levels. Like, they have ballers. That's not the issue. So does Clemson. But Clemson does a good job of playing sound, fundamental football versus good teams usually. But with that being said, Clemson also lost to 3 Southeast teams last year. You know what I mean? Like all their losses.
Carolina, yeah.
Texas and
Texas. There was another one too. Georgia, beginning of the year.
Right. So they've shown that they really can't beat teams in the SEC. So it's kind of like, who do I lean on? And I think LSU breaks the curse, and Brian Kelly gets a win in Death Valley. And I think Garrett Nesmeyer is going to have a big game. I really like him as a quarterback, as a leader. He does a good job of protecting the ball. And LSU has weapons. Like, they have some speed. They can do some things. So that being said, taking LSU 31-24.
I think that's fair. My issue with both these teams is this. I don't know how good their running game is going to be, because Clemson has converted wide receiver to running back, Adam Randall. And then when's the last time I can't believe I'm saying this. When's the last time LSU had a legitimate running back? I don't think they've had one under Brian Kelly. I think that's another issue too. Like, I like Garrett Nussmeier, but if you're relying on him to throw the ball 40 times, I've seen what that looks like. It looks like when they played Texas A&M last year and he ends up throwing multiple interceptions. So that's my issue with him. He makes some boneheaded decisions, but a lot of college quarterbacks would do that. If you're throwing the ball 40 to 50 times a game, that's what's going to happen. So I actually think whoever runs the ball the best in this game is going to win the game. I think that's what it's going to come down to. And it's also interesting to me to Clemson. Like, I'm picking them. I picked them to win the national championship. But my issue is Tom Allen's coming in and he's changing the defense. I like their front four and their front seven, but they were really bad versus the run last year. And I don't know why. I don't know if that was run fits and if that's how easy it is. And listen, you're just on the wrong or at the wrong place and you need to be over here. And if that's the case, guess what? That will be an easy fix. But if it's not that, then I don't know what's going to happen. If they get run through again, then this team's not going to go to the national championship. They may not even win the ACC if that's the case. But that was their biggest weakness because I think I like Klubnik. They have good wide receivers who stepped up down the stretch with TJ Moore and Bryant Wesco, especially in that Texas game. They really showed out.
Yeah.
I like their offensive line. I like their secondary with Avian Terrell. And I think Adam Randall will be enough at running back. But my issue is, can you stop the run? And then whatever team runs the ball the best in this game, I think will win the game. And because Brian Kelly's just going to have to prove it to me, I've yet to see him field a good defense, and I've yet to see him win an opener at LSU. I'm going to take Clemson in this game, and I'm going to take them 34-20. I think they win this game actually pretty easily. I just don't believe in LSU's defense. I don't. I think
that's fair.
One, they build the defense around Harold Perkins, and I don't think they know what he is. So they kind of just leave him out there to dry in weird positions. And I also don't think he's a super talented guy that you can build your whole defense around. I really like him, but I don't think he's that type of player. So that's why I think LSU is going to struggle. And like I said, when he was injured last year, they were actually better defensively. Now that he's back, it's going to be interesting to see if they change anything to get better defensively.
It's going to be so with Harold Perkins. Well, where they messed up is they start moving him around, having to do way too much. Like watching him his true freshman year when he was able to either play will backer or on third down just rush the passer. He was special. Like everyone was like, oh, who is this guy? Then over the next the next 2 years, it was just more just like, oh well, let's move him around so you can't get a beat on him. Well, the issue is he has to know what he's doing as well. So I don't disagree at all about the defense of LSU, but where Clemson is strong, I think LSU can match, if that makes sense. Yeah. I think LSU has guys who can cover. I think they can rush the passer well enough to get Cade off the spot, get him to struggle a little bit. But to your point, I'm not worried about the run game, in which that's where LSU struggled too. Like they struggle stopping the run consistently. So, but when you look at Clemson, they don't like running the ball because they have the quarterback. Or when they do run it, they're really not as effective, but it's not a focal point of their offense. Like they'll do it every now and again, third and short. They get the quarterback runs going, but they're not a consistent threat to run the ball to where LSU would be in fear of them just running the ball down their throat. So if to your point, if Clemson can't run the ball and you line up and just try to throw on this team, LSU is going to beat them. If Clemson can get any sort of a run game going, any sort of consistency, I'm talking about 4 or 5 yards a pop, LSU can get blown out.
No,
like, it's like, to me, it's no gray area in this game. This game is either really close or LSU loses by a lot.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way too, especially like if they get down like 10-0 in the first quarter, I think it could get pretty ugly pretty quickly. Yep. They need to get out to a hot start because at this point, you're also fighting the mental game of, oh, we're down again in an opener. I don't think we're going to win. So we'll see what happens. But we're on opposite sides of this one too. So we'll see about this one. I think we'll be on the same side as this one. Texas is getting 2.5 points. This has gone from 3.5 to 2.5 to 1.5 back to 2.5. The over-under here is 47.5. What is your prediction on this game?
Longhorn, baby. Let's not beat. Listen, Texas goes Arch Manning takes Texas to the horseshoe, and they win a hard-fought game. Now, what this game is going to come down to is who can control the line of scrimmage. Both sides of the ball, offense, defense. It's star players everywhere, but whoever can control the line of scrimmage consistently, because as good as Jeremiah Smith is, Arch Manning, all these weapons on both sides of the ball, Carnell Tate, doesn't matter if the quarterback's on his back. He can't help you in any shape, form, or fashion. So it'll be interesting to see how Texas young secondary comes out, and and how they deploy guys to cover Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Brandon Enos, just in the tight end, like Ohio State has a lot of weapons, but you can't let number 4 beat you. Someone else has to beat you. Like you have to take him away to me. Like that's what good teams do. You say, well, if this guy beats me, I can live with it. But the best player in the country, he can't beat me. And if Texas is able to generate pressure with Colin Simmons, like this team has a chance to go into Columbus and get a big time victory. Again, I'm taking the under. You have 2 young quarterbacks. As talented as Arch is, he's still a young quarterback in terms of playing in these hostile environments. I got Texas winning 24-21.
So I have a question for you about, do you think the game plan is going to be the exact same from the Cotton Bowl with the bracketing and stuff like that? And I guess they played more Tampa 2 in that game as well. Or do you think they're going to switch it up a little bit because, Ohio State probably had 6 months to look at that game film and decide the changes they would make towards it?
So I think early on you'll see some changes just to throw off the coordinator, because you got to think Ohio State has 2 new coordinators, right? So you have a new coordinator and a new quarterback, and the quarterback hasn't played with those guys live yet. So I think Texas will throw out some different looks early, and then as the game goes on, I think the game plan will revert back to kind of what you saw in the Cotton Bowl. But I think we will have the chance to be more successful with it due to Ohio State. Like, again, they have studs again this year, but they're not Travion Henderson yet. They're not Junkins yet. So the threat of run and explosives still might be there, but you will know in like the second half once those adjustments are made and things like that in terms of like what they're capable of doing. So I do think Texas will bracket him. I think you have to. Like, let's just put that out there. Like, you leave him 1-on-1, like, you are playing with fire. Like, that's a big, physical, fast, talented guy. Me personally, if I'm calling this defense, we hit him every play. Like someone has to touch him every play. Like, make him uncomfortable the entire game. So I do think Texas will deploy different people, different body types, different coverages to just to keep him off balance and force their other guys on the backside to win their one-on-one matchups and be able to cover Tate and Enos. So like I don't think too much of last year will go into play because the personnel has changed. But I do think at some point we will start seeing those same looks.
I also think they're going to force feed on the ball early on just because, 1 touch for 3 yards. I highly doubt that's going to happen again. And I also think I agree. I don't think they have Quinshawn Junkins and Travion Henderson. So they're going to, use the short passing game to, supplement their running game. So I could see more screens to them, more ends arounds, stuff like that. And I think it's going to be interesting if Texas is going to show a lot of stuff pre-snap, then shift as soon as the ball snapped too. I think that's a way to confuse them because I think you're going to be able to generate turnovers if you confuse the picture for Julian Sand just because it's his first start. I think he's super talented. I mean, I watched the spring game. His release is insanely quick. And that's the thing too. If they're going to try to get the ball out early, I'm interested to see if Texas defensive linemen throw their hands up and try to tip balls at the line of scrimmage. I think that's something that hopefully is being taught. And then also in the game, once they're recognizing it, that they do it, because I think that's probably what's going to happen. I bet they get rid of the ball pretty quickly for him early in the football game. But I think that's where this game comes down to, just like Clemson LSU. I think Texas is going to be able to run the ball more effectively than Ohio State. you don't have to run the ball 5-6 yards a clip. If you can do what they did versus Alabama on the road a couple years ago, which was like 3.5 yards per carry, that's just good enough because then you can set up play action as long as you're, stuck to the game plan and you run it. I think they ran it like 27, 28 times in that game, but they were only averaging like 3.3, 3.4 yards per carry. That's good enough in this type of game if you play ball control offense. So that's where I think this game goes. I think it's a super low scoring game between two top 10 defenses. And I do think Texas wins. I have Texas winning the football game 23-17.
Yeah, it's a, like, to your point, the run game, but what we talked about my very first episode, how we perform in the red zone is going to be pivotal, because I don't think we're going to have a problem moving the ball. That's never my concern. When we get inside the 20, we have to score touchdowns. If we don't score touchdowns, and at some point you're going to leave number 4 one-on-one, and if he gets any sort of a jump ball, like, I have a hard time betting against that guy. Like, he's just that talented, right? So it's going to be pivotal to get touchdowns when we get in position. Because to your point, I think we will be able to run the football effectively. We'll just stay in front of the chains, keep the game, kind of easy for Arch. We run the ball, play action, sprint out, got our RPOs, like, things just get them nice and comfortable. And as the game goes on, you open things up. But when we get in the red zone, we have to be able to capitalize, because if not, it'll be a repeat of all of our losses last year.
No, 100%. And I also think in this game, you're going to have, 3 to 5 opportunities to hit that explosive shot down the field, because the defenses will take chances because they trust their personnel and what quarterback can hit those shots. You're not going to go, let's say if you have 5 opportunities, you're not going to go 5 for 5. Can you go 2 for 5? Can you bat 40% on those? Because that's probably that team will probably end up winning the game if that's the case. So I think it's a super close game, just like the Cotton Bowl really came down to 2 plays. I think this probably comes down to 2 or 3 plays, just like that game.
Absolutely. And like, another thing, again, Ohio State lost both coordinators, but they returned everybody on defense. But they lost both coordinators. So how the game was called last year, in terms of, those coordinators, Texas can't really rely on that. So now it's like, it's a bunch of unscouted looks maybe, or, personnels in different spots. Like, it's so many variables and factors, but ultimately I think it's going to come down to being able to protect the quarterback in pivotal situations. Because when you look at Texas losses last year, it was, we struggled protecting the quarterback. And then,
no, I agree.
Right. You know what I mean? So then can we run the football? And because if we can run the football, then that keeps that pass rush kind of back a little bit, gives us the more time and allow us to, then set up play action, take shots downfield. So, I'm super excited for this one, but I definitely think we win a hard-fought battle.
So Brandon and I agree on Texas versus Ohio State. We agree on the under on Clemson versus LSU. I'm taking Clemson. He's taking LSU. We disagree on Notre Dame versus Miami. I'm taking Miami. He's taking Notre Dame, but we're both taking the under. And then we agree on both sides for TCU and North Carolina. So we'll have to keep an eye on Notre Dame, Miami, and LSU, Clemson, see who gets that right. We'll end up probably getting one of each right.
Probably.
That's probably what's going to end up happening. But please, guys, hit that like button, subscribe down below. We are here every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. We really appreciate it. You can also check out Brandon right there on his IG and TikTok. He also streams. Are you streaming after this?
I am streaming after this.
Okay, he will be streaming after this.
We're playing college football. I might play with some scrub teams tonight. I need a challenge. I need someone who can beat me, maybe. I don't know.
Play with I don't know. Play with do they let you play with FCS teams on there? Albany?
No.
Okay.
No,
I was wondering if they
so the new teams on there are Delaware, Missouri State. But yeah, I'm not doing that, because then I get passed up versus Texas. I'm like, oh well, this is not even fair. I can't even
that's true.
2 yards. No, I can't do that bad. I can do like middle tier SEC, ACC team. I can survive with those.
No, that's fair.
Team FBS, yeah, you get smacked around. You want to see me lose, don't you?
I just want to see you struggle a little bit. You got to struggle in the game a little bit. But You can follow him there. You can also check him out every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time over on the Texas channel. And we're going to be doing post game of the Ohio State game every week. Yeah, Saturday, probably 3:30 Eastern time, and every week after that. And you can check me out Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern time on the Texas channel as well. We really appreciate you guys joining us. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below. And thank you for watching, everyone.